everybody, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and this afternoon is my round 24 NRL tips for 2025. Look, obviously, less than 5 weeks to go until the regular season is done and dusted, so yeah, very exciting times as finals does approach, but look, the top 8 is still not set in stone just yet. I think half the top 4 is, but the top 8 is not set in stone quite yet. So that's why these upcoming games for certain clubs are very crucial, because some clubs' seasons are already done, but some are mathematically a chance of making it. So it all depends on how they go and if they are determined enough to make the top 8 this season. But as always, though, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks guys for all the new support. It means a lot to myself and this channel. And the next subscriber goal is to get to 5,750 subscribers. So thank you all for your continued support. But some big games this weekend. Like, nothing bigger than Panthers and Storm on Thursday night. Sheesh, what a game that's going to be. A lot different Penrith this time around compared to last time they played. And Melbourne obviously playing well, but on a bit of a shaky slope, I guess you can say. But that'll be a cracker on Thursday. Roosters Dogs will be good. Broncos Dolphins, the Battle of Brisbane. I think those are the top games of the weekend. But as always, though, let's get into the tips. So first up at CommBank, it's the Panthers versus the Storm, the 2024 Grand Final rematch. Came for the game, actually. Really am looking forward to seeing how both these sides go. Penrith trying to secure a top 4 spot, while Storm is still in the running for a minor premiership spot to finish first. Penrith, obviously, they were way too good last weekend. They were just, once again, so dominant as they always are. And, they completely washed out Newcastle easily last weekend. And as for the Storm, they got a lucky win last week, but obviously they are still without a doubt a team to beat. So they will be looking forward to this one, I'm sure. But looking at both these sides, for the Panthers, Ivan Cleary goes with the same 17 that won last week. And as for the Storm, one change, Pappenhausen sideline, so Nick Amini goes to fullback and Marion Seve comes in the centres for his first NRL game since round 4. The forward pack and the bench remain unchanged from last week's win over the Broncos. Nelson Asafa-Solomona has been listed to return among the reserves. That's the team right there for Melbourne. Tough game to tip, actually, because, if Pappenhausen was playing, I'd feel more confident about Melbourne winning. But Penrith obviously on a roll, but there's no Isaiah Yeo against this team like Storm, which will be a lot more of a bigger task than playing Knights, to be fair. I'm going to go, I'll go Penrith to win because, obviously another week of Munster. I don't know if that's going to be enough to take down Penrith. If Storm won, I wouldn't be shocked, but I'll go Penrith to win 1-12. So I'll go Panthers to win. I'm seeing a scoreline of 24 points to 18. First try scorer, I'm going to go with Thomas Jenkins. Anytime, let's go Brian Toto. And for the Storm, I'm liking Eli Katoa on that edge there. Next up on Friday night in New Zealand, it's the Warriors versus Dragons, 6 p.m. kickoff, Go Media Stadium. Now, the Warriors are very, very, they are in a lot of, strife to miss their top 4 spot. Like, I know they're already 5th, but they definitely are fading away from finishing in the top 4, considering Penrith's run right now and Warriors' losses as of recent, because the Bulldogs hammered them last weekend. But as for the Dragons, the Dragons are showing a lot of grit recently. Like, they beat Raiders, now Sharks, who are both finals teams. So if Dragons win this game, I don't think I'll make the 8, but they're a mathematical chance to still make it. So it's quite crazy how Dragons can still make it, but we'll see what happens, I guess. But this game will be very close, I feel like. Looking at both these sides, Tanner Boyd gets a recall at halfback with T. Murray Martin sideline with concussion. Wade Egan is back at hooker, which is huge for the Warriors. But Kurt Capewell concussion will miss the game, so Leka Halasima moves into the starting side, and Eddie Iramia Tawava joins the bench for his second NRL game. As for the Dragons, one change only. Matt Feagai returns from injury. Moses Sully out with an injury, and debutant Hayden Buchanan keeps his place in the centres. Michael Molo returns from an ankle injury on the bench alongside Loco Pacifici Tonga in his first NRL game since round 18. Christian Tuipulotu is named among the reserves as he returned to the field last weekend for the Dragons reserve grade team and is back from a hamstring injury. Okay, my tip for this game, very 50-50 game, but you know what? I'll back the Wars to win. I feel like Warriors will deliver for their fans back in New Zealand. I know Warriors are not playing as good as what they were at the start of the year, but I feel like they'll repay the fans this time around with a win on Friday. So I'll go Warriors to win 1-12. I'll go the Wars to win maybe 26 points to 22 in a bit of a high-scoring affair. First try scorer, I'll go Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Anytime, let's go Tane Tuapiki. And for the Dragons, I'm going to go with that young guy, Hayden McChannon, for another try any second week of playing NRL. All right, next up for the main event, it's the Roosters versus the Bulldogs at Allianz Stadium. So last time these two sides played, it was a huge game. The Roosters nearly got the job done over the Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs pulled away with a very gritty win and kind of like got out of jail in that game. So I'm sure the Bulldogs will look to try and secure maybe more of a convincing win this time around, but Roosters have been very impressive as of late, so I would give Roosters a very strong chance in this clash as well. But look at both these sides. I mean, yeah, and Bulldogs last week, they were too good for the Warriors, and as for Roosters, they just put a thumping score on the Dolphins. But look at Roosters' team. C1 concussion will miss the game. So Victor Radley joins the starting side at lock, and Nafahu White goes to prop. Egan Butcher moves from the bench to the starting side, and Blake Steep joins the interchange bench. And as for the Bulldogs, Cameron Serrato will go with the same 17 that beat the Warriors last week. So Connor Tracy has been named among the reserves as he looks to return from an abdominal injury that has sidelined him for 2 games. So there we go. My prediction for this game, I think Bulldogs will win. I think they will, but this will be a cracker of a game because the Roosters have so much grit in their game and a lot of good quality things about that club, the way they're playing right now. But I think Bulldogs, just because, I don't know, what they're building there, I suppose, and just if they can show that sort of class and that cleverness in their attack and whatever, then they can definitely win the game pretty well. So I'll go Bulldogs in a tight one, though. I'll say Bulldogs to win 22 points to 14. First try, I'm going with Stephen Crichton. Anytime, let's go Mark Nawaqanitawazi. And for the Bulldogs, I'm going to go with Bronson Jerry at the centre position. Next up on Saturday, the first game of the 3. It's the Sharks versus Titans game at 3 p.m. at Shark Stadium. Yeah, the Sharks, I don't know what happened last week. They were in the game against the Dragons, but I feel like it was a case of Dragons wanting it more than what the Sharks would have, because Sharks could have done a whole lot more in that game last week, but I feel like Dragons just competed a lot more better. And maybe that's a part of their game that the Sharks have to fix, is their competitiveness during the whole 80s. So we'll see if Sharks have improved anything from last week. And as for Titans, they were once again very unlucky not to win last week against the Rabbitohs. Like, I tipped South Sydney to win, but they were very unlucky not to win. And they had a lot of chances to win, but they just couldn't quite convert those opportunities. So it was a fair loss for Gold Coast last week, but I'm sure that they're trying to secure a win very soon. But look at both these sides. For the Sharks, Jesse Ramian is out for the rest of the year with a broken thumb, so huge blow for the Sharks. But Mawani Harodi comes into the centres, replacing Ramian, while Billy Burns also comes in for the suspended Brendan Nakora in the back row, who won't play again until finals. 2 new faces on the bench for the Sharks. Jesse Colohoun back from suspension, and Daniel Atkinson returning after he was 18th man last week. As for the Titans, a big boost there with Tino Fa'asuamaleaui back for the Titans, named to return after 3 games out with a knee injury, while Philip Sami, concussion, and Mawaki Fatawaiki illness are also back. Klesi Haas and Regan Campbell-Gillard moved to the bench, while Brian Kelly has entered the concussion protocols for this game. My prediction for this game, I can see a world where the Titans win the game, but I can't see it actually happening, though. I think the Sharks will be too strong at home, so I'll go Cronulla by about 8 points. I'll go Cronulla to win, I'll say 26 points to 18. First try, I'll go Sione Katoa, anytime Will Kennedy, and for the Titans, I'll go with Jojo Fafita. Next up at 5:30 p.m, it's the Battle of Brisbane, the Broncos versus Dolphins at Suncorp Stadium. The Broncos, yeah, wow, they lost both their halves last week in not a bad loss to the Storm, but obviously a loss that has ramifications on their top four hopes, I think. But the Broncos, yeah, without their two main halves, it was always going to be tough beating the Storm. But I feel like their effort against Melbourne was very good despite those players leaving the field injured, as well as Cobbo. So some good effort there by the Broncos despite the loss. But yeah, they got some replacement halves this week though. And as for the Dolphins, well, they are just coming off a very big thumping loss to the Roosters last week. So both teams have had losses. Let's see who comes out this weekend with a win. But looking at both these sides, for the Broncos, Ben Hunt and Billy Walters form the new halves combo for this game, with Reynolds and Mam injured. Corey Pakes is the new starting hooker, and Tyson Smoothy joins the bench. Josiah Karapani comes in on the wing for Selwyn Cobbo, the third victim of a hamstring injury against the Storm. As for the Dolphins, Francis Molo's suspension sees Mark Nichols elevated to start at prop, and veteran Kenny Bromwich joins the bench for his first NRL action since round 8. Jake Averillo has been named to start at centre, with Tavina Fahu on the wing, and that's about it for the Dolphins. Yeah, tough game actually. I won't lie, very tough game. But I'm going to tip the Broncos. Like, I know Reynolds, Mam, Cobbo, all huge blows. But I feel like Ben Hunt, still being a very experienced and classy 7, he'll do a good job at halfback. And Billy Walters has been in solid form at hooker, and I feel like he'll do a solid job at 6. If Dolphins win, I wouldn't be shocked, just because, they have a great team on paper and they will look for some resurgence in this game. But yeah, I see Broncos winning though. So I'll go Broncos to win maybe 24 points to 14. First try, I'll go Shibasaki anytime. Let's go Josiah Karapani, and for the Dolphins, I'll go that young Tavita Nafahu for a try. And finally, wrapping up Super Saturday, it's the Rabbitohs versus Eels at Allianz Stadium. So, mind you, there's 3 games this weekend at Allianz Stadium. As we know, Roosters, Bulldogs, this game, Rabbitohs, Eels, and on Sunday, Manly Tigers. So looking forward to it. But yeah, look, Rabbitohs, they got the job done over the Titans last week in a very close 20-18 win, and that was a much-needed win for the Rabbitohs, considering they are in wooden spoon contention. So, in other words, the Rabbitohs won the Spoon Bowl last week, so I'm sure their fans and members will be very relieved with that one. And as for the Eels, they were obviously not great against the Cowboys, but they got the job done just by 1 point, so they'll take that win. But yeah, looking at both these sides, for the Rabbitohs, one change only, with Lachlan Hubner out after suffering a head knock last week. So he's replaced by Shaq Mitt for his first NRL appearance of the season. A big name among the reserves, with Cody Walker closing in on a return from a hamstring injury that was having him sidelined since round 17. And as for Parramatta, Jason Rolls sticks with the same 17 that has been that did win last week against the Cowboys. Isaiah Oyongi has been named in the reserves, so it could be a late inclusion if possible, but we'll see. But my prediction for this game, tough one, because I feel like it can go either way. But I'm actually going to go the Rabbitohs for the win for some reason. I don't know why, but I think Seahawks might get the win. I know they were lucky to get the job done last week, but Latrell had a classy game, as I thought he would. Being back from injury, and Jai Gray at fullback, like that balance of Latrell Sensor, Jai Gray fullback, that's a perfect balance right there. And South Sydney have to keep that going forward. But yeah, I'll go Souths to win. I'll go Souths by 6. So I'm thinking a scoreline of maybe, let's go 22 points to 16. First try scorer, I'll go Isaiah Tass anytime, Jai Gray, and for the Parramatta Eels, let's go Mitchell Moses anytime. Now, on to Sunday, the last game at Allianz starting for the weekend. It's the West Tigers versus my boys Manly at Allianz. So, first time Tigers and Manly play each other at Moore Park since round 1 2010. So, a long time since, these two sides clashed at Moore Park. But, I know Manly beat the Tigers last time, but Tigers have been a bit different since that game, and I feel like they've been in more games more than ever before. So, I'm expecting a good version of the Tigers come this game. I really am. But yeah, Tigers, they had a good victory last weekend. The week before, sorry, over the Bulldogs. They had the bye last week, so they're fresh and ready to go. As for Manly, they had a bad loss to Canberra on Friday night, so I don't know what's next for Manly. I really don't know, but one more loss and we're done. So we'll see what the boys dish up this weekend. So for the Tigers, Starford Toa returns after missing the win over the Bulldogs. So Brent Naden drops to reserves and fellow centre Taylor May suffered a head knock in that game but has been cleared to play so far. The absence of Alex Seyfarth's suspension sees Alex Twal moved to the back. No, hang on, they got this wrong. Sione Fainu is in the back row and Alex Twal is playing at lock, yeah. Bit of a typo on the NRL website. And Fanua Polo joins the starting side at prop, and Charlie Murray is the new face on the bench. As for Manly, Jake Trbojevic is out with a Category 1 concussion, so Jake is out and could miss the rest of the year apparently, which I think is fair enough considering he's had 3 Cat 1s now. So Tavanga replaces him at lock. Ben Trbojevic returns from a concussion in the second row. Lehigh Hopewadi is back for Manly. That's a big in from a shoulder injury, so he goes to the wing. Garrick centre and Turbo keeps his place at fullback. Thomas Liao goes to jersey 14. And he's finally back. Hallelujah. Cal Navala is back on the bench, so thank God Navala is back because, yeah, it's been way too long for this bloke to be playing. Well, I guess I should say not to play first grade, but there is some clauses in his deal that have him restricted to a certain number of games, I think, being on a supplementary development deal, but I don't get it. But he's back though, so I'm glad. But my prediction for this game, as always, backing Manly no matter what, backing the boys to get the job done. So I'll go Manly to win in a high-scoring affair. Actually, I'll go Manly to win 30-26. I can see this being a really high-scoring game. But yeah, first try scorer, I'll go Lehigh for a try. And anytime try scorers for Tigers, I'll go Dream Buller. And anytime for Manly, I'll go Jason Saab. But am I confident? No. But am I going to back us to win? Yes, I will. So come on, Manly, get the job done on Sunday. And lastly, wrapping off round 24, it's the Cowboys versus Knights at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. The Cowboys, very, very unlucky to lose to the Parramatta Eels last Sunday. That was a very tough loss for the Cowboys. You can argue that they were robbed, but I don't know, very 50-50 call in the end, I feel like. But yeah, look, they will be looking to be more determined to win this game this week, I feel like, back at home. Obviously, Cowboys defeated the Knights last year in finals week 1 in Townsville, so I'm sure that's a bit of confidence for them to say, oh, look, we've done this before, let's do it again, or sort of thing. But as for Newcastle, they were terrible against the Panthers. Knights are done this year as our Cowboys, but yeah, Knights are just in a very bad state right now, and I don't know how Knights will go in this game. I really don't, but there's a lot of issues there, as it's very obvious to see. But looking at both these sides, for the Cowboys, Jordan McLean is back from a calf injury, so he'll start at prop, with Cohen Hess out for the year with a suspension. So Carl Lawton joins the bench, having served a 2-game suspension, while Thomas McCallie knee and Harrison Edwards infection back also for the Cowboys. Marley Bitzagani, Nick Lenaz and Caden Lars make way. And for the Knights, on debut, Connor Vitano makes his debut for the Knights at fullback, with Dane Gagai going to the centres and Fletcher Hunt dropping out. Tyson Frizzell comes into the starting side at lock in the absence of Phoenix Crossland, who has a head knock. And a new look bench includes the record Brody Jones and Matt Arthur, who's the captain of the Knights reserve grade side, is back in the team as well, who plays his second NRL game ever. Second NRL game of the season. All right, my tip for this game, again, get a coin like this one and just toss it up in the air, and it's heads or tails. But I'll go Cowboys to win. I think Cowboys will be lucky this weekend. They were unlucky this week, but I feel like they'll get their win in this game though. So Cows to win. I'll go Cows to win 28 points to 20. First try, I'll go Jackson Purdue. Anytime, I'll go Scott Drinkwater. And for the Knights, I'll go Greg Marziu to score. But that right there was my round 24 NRL tips for this weekend. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as always. And yeah, please let me know your tips in the comments section down below as well. Would be greatly appreciated. But thanks for everyone for watching. Have a good rest of your weekend. Go Manly.